Here's the basic setup for a 3-player game. As you can see, the Phase 1 board is this board right over here. There are 7 dice because you have 2 dice for each player plus 1 extra. And then you have the herbivore dinosaurs, the small carnivore, and the large carnivore piles to buy the dinosaurs in their paddocks. You, of course, have coins set out, and there's actually more than this that come with the game, but I've set these up. And I have the deluxe version, I should point out. So you notice that I have the metal coins, and then I also have the multiple different dinosaur molds. The blue board is the Phase 2 board. That's where you're going to have you can barely see them over here, the construction for new improvements to your lab. This green thing is where you're going to get different restaurants, and that pile has like the amusement park rides, etc. And then the purple cards here are the specialists that you can hire, and you'll flip those out to fill over here as the game goes on. You also have a pile right up here, and that lets you increase your dinosaur research, as well as a DNA refinement, which helps you get more DNA. Down below that board here, you'll see that I've got the different paddocks. You can upgrade to a 2 dinosaur, 3 dinosaur, or hold 4 dinosaurs. These are just in case you score or you upgrade more than 10, you'll need those chits later on. As you play, you will flip up 4 different amusement park attractions, 4 different lab upgrades, and 4 different people that you can hire. Notice that they're in rows here. This first top row, these are all cost $2 plus any additional costs they list. This row here is the $3 row plus any additional, the 4 and the 5. So they are more expensive as you go down. As things are bought, these will slide up and bump up from round to round. Over here you have the turn order and the scoring board, as well as the objectives. You're going to randomly place out the number of objectives, 1 per player plus 1 extra. So in a 3-player game, we've got 4 objectives. And once those are, I believe it's 3 of the 4 are claimed, the game will end. And if you'd like, you can use the plot twist cards that add additional rules. Finally, in setup, each person will get their own DNA board, all of their workers, etc., and then their board for their park. Setting up the player board, you will have 9 worker meeples. 4 will start off the board. You have to hire more later. You don't get to use them all right off the bat. 4 start on your board. Those are the ones that are available to you. And the extra one you put up on top of the turn order track to show what order you go in. You also have 3 scientists that you put on your board. You have 6 black cubes. You'll put 3 on the number 4 in the basic DNA track, and you'll put 3 on the number 2 spot in the advanced DNA. You'll have, I believe it's 10 of the cubes of your color. So you start with 1 basic DNA, so you put 1 in each of the 1 spots there. You start with 0 advanced DNA, so you put 1 in each of the 0 spots there. You have a threat level of 1 at the beginning, a security level of 1 at the beginning. Then the remaining 2 cubes you'll see I've put up there on the board to show your excitement level and your victory points. You also have to put 1 dinosaur on your starting paddock, and then you are ready to play. While the board looks pretty busy and complicated, it's actually set up quite well. It's played in different phases, so you kind of complete 1 board at a time before you move on, and it's pretty easy to teach this way. We start over here in this section that my hand is covering in the Phase 1 board. You roll all of the dice, and then you lay them along the track up there. Then you go around and you each take turns placing your scientists to bid on actions up there. The 3 little vials on here. One will be a number 1, one will be a number 2 scientist, and one will be a number 3 scientist. When you put them on there, let's say I use my number 1. If I want a die, I just put it underneath the die I want. And I take that die, and I gain whatever's on that die times the number on the scientist. Since I put the number 1 worker on there, I would just get 1 times these 2 types of DNA. Then I would move that type of DNA up 2. 1, 2 on my board. Unless I hit my limit, that could stop me from gaining more, so I have to upgrade that as time goes on. If I put a 2 on there, I would have gotten 2 times 2, and I would have gotten 4. So then everybody else would put one of their scientists out, and then I can put another scientist. The other option you can do is, you can, besides buying dice, you can buy a new type of dinosaur. You have to use a 1 or higher to get the herbivores, a 2 or higher to get the small carnivore, or you have to use your 3-guy scientist to get the big meat eater. So I would take this, and I could add that to my park. And it doesn't really matter where you place it. But there's always that option. Now keep in mind, I'll have to make dinosaurs and fill them later. You do not start with dinosaurs. You can also use your scientists to go over here and increase your storage limit. If I put a 3 scientist there, I can increase my storage limit 3 times. I could do 1, 3. I could increase all 3 of these 1, so I can hold more. I can increase 2 of these 1 and 1 of these 1. You get the idea. But I can increase my storage by the number on the scientist. Next up, you can choose to pass. If there's nothing out there that you want, and by the way, I could have taken more dice, etc., you can put one of these here, and that'll turn it into a worker to use in Phase 3 later on. But that is the Phase 1 board. Next up, we move to the Phase 2 board. Phase 2 is where you are going to be using your money to buy upgrades to your park or for your lab. So what you'll do is you will buy something in the $2, $3, $4, $5 row, and you get to do 2 purchases. If I choose to buy one of the park improvements, you'll see that they have a cost down here. So this was in the number 2 row, plus it has 3, so it would cost me actually 5 to add this. So I'd pay 5, and again, I could add it anywhere in my park. And there's amusement park rides, etc. You can choose to pay the amount to add something to your lab. If I paid 2, since this was in the $2 row, I may hire 1 additional specialist, and I would place that in one of my empty spots on my lab. You can see you only have so many spaces there. Or you could buy one of the workers in the rows. This guy would cost 2 since he's in the $2 row, and he gives you special abilities. Draw 3 extra visitors each round, then return any 2 to the bag, because there's certain, you want good visitors, and there's these hooligans you don't want. That lets you get rid of them. So if I want to buy that, I put them over here. You can have up to 3 specialists at a time, unless, of course, I can have 4 since I have that addition there. You can also, for $5, buy the refined DNA, which lets you get more DNA when you research on your lab, or you can get the Dino Research 2 to create to give you more options to create dinosaurs, and that would cover up your spot over here on this board. Basically, those 2 here are upgrades for pre-existing spaces. But that's pretty much what you're doing, is you are buying a new park improvement, lab improvement, or specialist. And you get 2 of those. Phase 3 is written over here on your lab. So anyway, this is my lab for this round. I have 4 workers, or possibly more if I pass using a scientist up on that other board earlier. And I can basically, now it's a worker placement game, I can place them on a space to take that action. So if I place this man here, I can create 1 dinosaur. My dinosaur recipes are on the cards here. This costs 2 of any basic DNA to build. This dinosaur would cost 1 of these light blue. He'd cost 1 of these pinkish colors. He'd cost an advanced DNA, which I don't have, and this yellow advanced DNA. See the 1, 2, 3, 4 to build him. So I can't do him, but I could do this Mosasaurus, or Mosaurus, I believe it's called. So I might go 1, 2, since I have the most of that. So I take the action by placing my worker on this space, because the spaces show how many times you can take that action. I pay the cost, and then I would grab another dinosaur meeple and place him here. Oh, except I didn't upgrade this. I don't have space for another dinosaur. I guess I couldn't do that quite yet, but you get the idea. You could build a dinosaur. You can go down here to refine DNA. Turn one type of DNA into another type. I have a tool bench. I can upgrade my paddock capacity or increase security level by 1. Upgrade paddock capacity would be what I would have needed to do. I need to increase this to have 2 spots for dinosaurs. They're really faint white rectangles on there, and that would just go underneath him here. So I probably would do that first, and then I would build the dinosaur. It's really important what order you take your actions. I could go over here just to collect money, 3 coins from the bank, and you get the idea. You place your workers out until you've used them up. I can take this action a second time because there's a place for a second worker here. This can only be taken once. Now I can upgrade those so that I can DNA refinement 3 separate times by buying this. And I can create 1 dinosaur 3 times instead of just 2. And they each time only costs me 1 worker. If you look down here, this has a times 2. It would actually cost me 2 workers to do it a second time. So that's the worker placement phase. You are basically taking advantage of this to improve, to build dinosaurs or improve other things, or use up your DNA or refine your DNA to make the types of DNA that you need but don't have yet, etc. Phase 4 I'm going to cover really briefly, but basically you will draw visitors to come to your park. The more dinosaurs and the more great attractions you have, the greater your excitement level. And whatever your excitement level is, that's how many visitors you draw from the bag. So you want to make your park as exciting as possible by having more dinosaurs, more thrill rides, etc. So the more people come, and they're all going to bring with them money and the possibility for victory points. So you draw the number of workers, and they line up outside here, and that gets you cash for them. And then you have to have a spot next to the various things in your park for them to line up at. If you fill the spots with people and you still have customers waiting outside, they don't get to come in and you don't get a score for that. If there's 1 dinosaur in the paddock, you can only put 1 dinosaur, or 1 customer, excuse me. Basically, the number of customers can be equal to the number of dinosaurs out here. This hat can only hold 1. This one can hold nothing because I built no dinosaurs. But you'll see things like the Ferris wheel. Well, it's expensive, 9 to build plus whatever the cost is out there, but the Ferris wheel can hold 4 people. So it's really important that you build attractions that are going to draw in or hold lots of customers so that they don't get turned away at the door. Then you collect your money, you'll adjust victory points, etc., and then you'll check to make sure that your threat level is never higher than your security level. Every dinosaur you build adds a certain amount of threat, and if your threat level is higher than your security level, that means that some of your patrons can get eaten, which is bad. So you always want to make sure that you increase your security level to be as high or higher than your threat level so that people don't get eaten and you don't lose points there also. Then basically kind of clear, these would all slide up, you refill the board, and then you start over with step 1, 2, 3, 4, clean up, rinse, wash, and repeat. So hopefully that gives you a rough idea of how to play the game. Shows you how to set it up and what it should look like out on the table. And I hope that this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned in to see our final review of this game coming up shortly.